With the upcoming second trailer of GTA 6 in approximately 3-4 months from now, my prediction is end of April 2024. People are guessing the actual game release date or even a month it would be launched in, but mostly realistic one we see is March 2025, and the reason for that is their fiscal year ends in this month. We already talked about it before, but let's have a look into more details on this topic. Subscribe and GTA 6 will release faster than you ever expect. Okay, let's start. GTA 6 will reportedly launch on March 2025, and let's discuss this information in today's video because we for sure think already understand the reality of it. Next up, accessible gyms featured in GTA San Andreas might return in GTA 6 as male protagonists vary in physique in the leaks. The changes in his body shape suggest that players might be able to affect the lead character's physique at will, and just like in the series' 2004 installment. The release window. So I've heard many people saying that the release may be during autumn, winter, or my favorite one, the game will be postponed to 2026. And every time I honestly got a little bit annoyed by this kind of a professional coach analytics making conclusions literally out of nowhere. But what facts do we really have? As there are two groups of people whose opinions should be considered while deciding on the concrete date. The consumers, who cannot do any financial damage, and usually more important from the point of view of most companies, the investors. Since our wonderful publisher T2 trades their stocks on the market, and they also have to do yearly reports on the current and future situation of the company. Around half a year ago, May 23rd, they said that they were expecting some enormous revenue during the period from April 24, which we expect the second trailer to be, to March 25, so probably from this date of April 24 to March 2025, we'll have a lot of news on the GTA 6 for sure. So $8 billion to be exact, and that is probably the main fact that all the speculation should be based on. The trust of the investors is what actually defines how many new golden yachts Zelnick, head of T2, will be able to buy. So there is practically not a single chance he will allow to release the game later than 31st of March 2025, because it will eventually end with the stocks getting down, and of course it is literally impossible for the date to be in 26, as I believe there is no need to explain you what chaos, both in marketing and on the stocks market, will begin on the day they say the game needs one more year of development. We'll know on February 8th because that will be the last call of fiscal 24, and by then projections will either be set in stone or changed, but I highly doubt it will change during that call because remember they have been rambling on about these projections since 2022. Yeah, and that's why I always get frustrated by people who only think about the reaction of players, completely forgetting anything else, thus telling something like don't get your hopes too high, they still can postpone it. I don't think T2 can feasibly make to 8 billion in fiscal 2025 without GTA 6. I've seen a few guesses that fall into February 2025, which is pretty good estimate, and I guess we'll just have to see that what happens though. Also, the hype for GTA 6 is more than hype GTA 5 had when it first released, so GTA 5 has expanded Take-Two business and their audience customers, and as once pre-orders are around, I think GTA will hit 1 billion in sales under an hour, maybe even 3 billion by the end of the first week. So the game also is going to cost more than GTA 5, probably around even $80 for each for standard edition. And you are more or less right, but there is the calculations are more related to the release, not the pre-orders. Let's not forget that GTA 6 it's first of all is a product, and most customers would like to get the product being sure that it's definitely high quality. No matter how much we want the game to be the best ever released, no one knows about its final state, and the price for the standard edition is just another topic for conversation, and there's absolutely no info on that, just guesses, though it makes me smile every time I see someone telling that the cost might be around $150, as the greed of contemporary companies billionaires is absolutely limitless. So, this is going to be a very risky release and is going to show perfectly where Rockstar priorities are. We saw so many bad AAA releases in the past year, unfinished, broken, unpolished, unoptimized releases, and the majority of them was due to the lack of time and hunger for money. Rockstar have money, insane amount of money. They don't have to release the game if they don't want to. If it's not ready just to survive financially, GTA Online is going to very strong. They are not under the pressure of time and money, and still they set a completely useless, arbitrary deadline for themselves just to please their investors. This is so dangerous. This project, I can't imagine, is huge with thousands of people working on it. As a software developer myself, I allow myself to say that there is simply no way they could predict in May 2023 that a project will be ready to ship is in a good state by 31st of March 2025. Yet it is impossible to say such thing with confidence, and Rockstar are not magicians, they are people. In the past there were controversies about Rockstar forcing the employees to work overtime and crunch, and they have said that they are trying very hard to improve on this. But if they really have this stupid deadline for the investors, there is a very high probability that crunch will happen again leading up to the release, which is never a good sign, and employees start to rush things, quickly implementing things just for them to be ready as soon as possible with low quality, which leads to the issues I mentioned before. And GTA 6 is probably the most anticipated game of all time, and definitely one of the biggest. If they release a broken mess just because of this stupid deadline in an investor's call, there will be a huge backlash that would probably destroy them. That's why I think it's a very dangerous release. If the game is not up to their standards by the time it should release, I'm very curious what would they choose, as either release the game in an unfinished state to please the investors but piss off the gamers, or delay the game until it's ready but piss off the investors. Of course, in an ideal world, the game is polished and ready to release by the end of the fiscal year of 2024, but like I said, from experience, they could not predict that 2 years in advance. And basically, this is the reality of the businesses like the Rockstar. They are so big that they should do everything for investors, and you need to understand that. Next up is, since GTA 6 is the new Vice City, I hope they reintroduce the Good Citizen bonus. The Good Citizen bonus is a small cash reward, $50 given to the player for knocking over criminals or gang members that are being chased by police officers. The reward appears in GTA Vice City, GTA Liberty City Stories, and GTA Vice City Stories. The player can use their fists, brass knuckles, a baseball bat, or a nightstick to beat a criminal. However, if the player chooses to kill the criminal with a car or another weapon on the criminal, the player will receive an automatic wanted level, as the criminal will attack the player after being hit by but can refocus on the officer if the officer manages to beat the criminal. The player can still get a bonus as the officer beats the criminal. So to be honest, I hope I can beat this game without committing any acts of violence. Spider-Man rendering windows or accessible areas, and looking at the screenshots we could basically see those interiors right there. I don't know, this might be a long shot, but what if we can actually break into random houses, follow someone home and rob them? Literally be the first GTA where everywhere is actually accessible, and every time I look at a trailer you can see inside houses, buildings. If not 100% sure if it is just the same trick Spider-Man the game used, or possibly places to walk into, what do you think about this one? Write in the comments. So this is all information we got on today's video, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next one, and peace.